Good morning. I'm Farmer Jay, and today we're going to answer a question that came in from Sophia, who is 6 years old, and she wants to. Well, I'm going to let her ask her own question, and then we'll see if we can find an answer in the barnyard.
Farmer Jay, how do you milk a cow?
This is a little picture of Ina's treat bucket, which she gets while she's being milked, so that she enjoys the process. She really likes potatoes, and if you see underneath the potatoes, there's also some grain that she really enjoys eating. And so you'll see her eating this while she's getting milked.
Come on.
So this is Lo, and this is Ina, and Lo's going to teach us how to milk a cow this morning and give us some good instruction. Ina is eating at her little grain bucket, and Lo, go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing and most important thing that we need to do is to wash the udder. And so I have a bucket here of warm soapy water and two cloths. I use these white cloths that you can get at Canadian Tire. They're really good because then they can show you if they're clean or not. And I only use them once, and then I wash them in hot water in a washing machine. And so I take the first cloth, and this cloth is to mainly just take off all the dirt and poo that I see on the udder. Her udder is really clean right now because it hasn't rained in a couple days, and she's in a new pasture that doesn't have a lot of mud, so it makes it a lot easier for me. But in the winter, it can get really muddy and dirty, and sometimes you need like more than one cloth to clean off all the mud and the poo.
And maybe like a hose and a pressure washer.
Yeah, and so I do both sides just so I can get a look to make sure that there's no dirt that's gonna fall. And I do a bit of the back too.
I know when I do it, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I make an extra special point of going right through that crease in her udder because
Yeah.
a lot of stuff accumulates there when it is really muddy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important to make sure you get everything. And then the second cloth is to sanitize the teats. And so I take the cloth into 4 quarters, and each quarter I kind of designate for each teat.
Can you explain what a teat is for my audience in particular?
Okay, so this is the udder of the cow, and then these things that are kind of sticking down, hanging there, are called teats. And at the end of the teat, there's a hole, and that's where the milk comes out. And so I take the quarter, and I wipe the teat, and then I flip the cloth. And my hands are clean. I've just washed them, so that's very important as well. And so then that part is to clean the tip of the teat, because we really don't want there to be any dirt or poop at the tip there, because that's where the milk is coming out. And we want the milk to be really clean when it comes out. So then I flip it and wipe the second one, and you can see as I'm doing this, I'm flipping the cloth to the next quarter. So that I'm using a clean quarter of the cloth. Whoop! A little bit of milk squirted out. And then I kind of use the rest of this cloth, if it's still clean, just to give one last wipe. And then lately what I've been doing, because it's been pretty damp, today it's pretty dry, but I use a dry cloth and then dry it, just so that there's no like drips coming down.
Yep.
When it's more humid in the air, the water like stays on the udder more. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next step is to take the first bit of milk out of the udder. This also gives us the opportunity to assess the milk to see if there's any mastitis or if there's anything weird going on in the milk. So I just take 3 squirts from each teat. And I'm going to explain how I milk in a second, but I'm just going to get this process done, mostly for Ida's sake. And actually this thing wasn't super clean when I got to it, but you can see that the milk is fairly clean. There's a little bit of chunkies, and that's because Ina's been having very, very mild mastitis this winter, which is kind of typical for her. And I just make sure that it doesn't get too bad and that she doesn't have any inflammation. Yeah. And if it gets super clumpy and looks really nasty, then I just stop drinking from whatever quarter is showing that.
Yep.
I wonder what's going to be the best angle.
You'll notice that Ina is milking herself at this point, which is kind of amazing. Look at that. Milk's just pouring out. All right.
That's called the so this means that she's relaxed and all the milk has come to the teats and that she's ready to be milked.
She sure is.
So how to milk a cow. This is my technique and this is how I've always done it, and I kind of self-taught myself, so if you see other techniques, then interested to hear them and get tips and advice, but this is how I do it, so I'll let you know how I do it. I create this L-shaped form with my hand, and that shape I put up against the teat. And that part of my hand does not move from that spot. What is getting the milk out of the teat is my fingers, which I slowly move down the teat and squeeze. And that's what causes the milk to come out of the teat. And then you can do it with the other one. And traditionally, people always go back and forth. And I think it's just that it's easier on the hands and kind of creates like a rhythm, like when you're jogging and you go like move your hands back and forth. And so then you can see I'm leaving my hand up at the top of the teeth, just rolling my fingers down. If you're finding that the cow isn't letting down very well, you can like push up a bit on the udder while you squeeze, like push up and then squeeze down, push up, squeeze down, push up, squeeze down. You can see my hand is still not moving from the udder. It's just my fingers that are squeezing the milk out.
And you're pushing up with your knuckles a little bit.
Yeah,
every
it's
time.
kind of creating that like up and down motion. And then, for Ina's sake, it's better to go as fast as you can, because it's just more relieving for her.
Yeah. So we're gonna leave you for now, and then we'll come back when you're really done.
Okay. The best thing to do is to filter it afterwards, just to get all the things that might have fallen into the bucket out of the milk, because no one likes to drink that kind of stuff, like hair and straw and that kind of stuff. So I use this filtering system. There's already milk in there, so you can't really see it, but maybe we can get a picture of it later. And you just pour this through the filter, and then it goes into this jug underneath. And then you can see under there is the clean milk. Okay, so at the end, when you've gotten all the milk out that you feel like you've gotten out, you can see your udder is a lot more shaky and loose and doesn't seem as full. So this is when you need to make sure to try and get all of the milk out of the teats. And so I'm not sure exactly how quick I am, so
Okay, that's okay.
it's just, so you can see as I'm milking, it gets less strong when the milk comes out, and it's harder to squeeze out the milk. And so at this point, what I do is I push up on the udder and I squeeze it out until I can't get anything out. And then I do that again. And you just do that until when you squeeze, nothing or very little is coming out. So you can see that less and less is coming out when I squeeze. So that, I would say, is done. Because there's like only a little trickle coming out. And that, I would say, is an empty quarter.
Sure is.
Okay, so the lines in the back of her udder here, see how loose that is? That's what you like to see.
Okay.